I want you to watch this interaction between Ben Shapiro and a student at Oxford University. They're talking about the Israel-Hamas war because Ben dropped some important truth bombs. Have a watch.
Hi. If Israel is justified in killing civilians because of the acts of terror committed by Hamas, why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did? Because Israel is keeping 13,000 children. It has tried them in military courts. Since the establishment of Israel, 55,000 Palestinian homes have been bulldozed. So why isn't Hamas justified in doing what it did if we use your logic?
So I'm going to answer your question, then I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. Is that all right? So my answer is that Israel would not be justified in killing Palestinian civilians because of the actions of terrorists. Israel would be justified in attempting to kill terrorists, and civilian casualties are a cost of war. That is just a reality of life. During World War II, there were 70,000 Brits who died during the Blitz bombing, and there were 2 million Germans who died, civilians who died during World War II. And I don't see a lot of monuments in Britain because of the 2 million civilians who died in Germany. The costs of war are brutal, they're terrible, they're horrifying. There's a vast difference in moral scope between deliberately going into a civilian area and murdering everyone you can find and trying to kill a terrorist who is deliberately hiding beneath a civilian area, hiding their rockets in civilian areas, starving their own people. There is a vast difference. Okay, so now I get to ask my question, if you don't mind. So my question is, do you believe that there is a moral difference between Hamas going into, for example, Kfar Aza and murdering entire families, and Israel attempting to target terrorists and accidentally hitting civilians?
Israel is effectively doing the same because Gaza is the most densely populated region in the world. There are 15,000 people per square mile.
So does Hamas get immunity because they're there? So Hamas gets immunity. So
Israel has killed 3,500 children in the past 3 weeks. That's more children. That's more children than have died in conflicts around the world in each of the last 4 years.
So just to be clear, your logic is that if you're a terrorist group located in a densely populated community and you hide behind civilians, you're now immune.
Where are the children meant to go?
So you're immune. Okay. That's a violation of the Geneva Conventions, but okay. You're now immune. Your logic is that if you're a Hamas terrorist...
Sorry, since 2005, 23 out of every 24 conflict deaths have been Palestinian. I don't see any moral equivalency there. It's clearly unjust what the IDF has been doing to the Palestinians because there's a vast disparity between the number of Palestinians being killed and the number of Israelis.
I mean, I would certainly hope that Israel is killing more Hamas
This isn't
members.
A conflict. This isn't a conflict. This is one-sided ethnic cleansing.
So, again, I'm just asking you, if based on the numbers, more Germans died than Brits in World War II, did that mean that the British were wrong in World War II? Because they did. Many more Germans died than Brits. Based on the numbers, does that mean that Britain was wrong in World War II?
Britain wasn't bombing civilians. There's a clear difference.
You should talk to the people in Dresden, but you can't because they're dead.
There's a clear difference. Well, I agree that war is horrible, but this is not a just war. What Israel is doing is not a just war. There is a difference between fighting the Nazis.
So it is not a just war to
fighting the Nazis.
It is not a just war when you fight a war against people who murder 1,500 of your civilians and take 233 of them, at last count, captive into tunnels. It is not a just war to obliterate them. Please name a just war.
Israel's been killing civilians for the past 75 years, and there was no headlines about it, and nobody said that the Palestinians were
Israel
justified
does not purposefully kill civilians. Palestinian terrorists do.
Israel has not purposefully killed civilians. Are you willing to stand by that statement?
If Israel put down its guns tomorrow, there would be a second Holocaust. If the Palestinians put down their guns tomorrow, there would be a Palestinian state. That is the reality. And let me ask you this.
There would not be a Palestinian settlement.
I'm going to ask you the last question, the same question I asked her. Which part of Palestine is occupied?
The entirety of Palestine, but I'm not calling for the destruction of Jews.
I appreciate you expressing your full genocidal intent for the Jewish people living between the river.
Why is it genocidal to call for a state that is not apartheid? You can have a state where all citizens have equal rights, Jews and Muslims.
I'm sure that's going to go amazingly under the same people who are governing the Gaza Strip, where currently zero Jews live.
The time. Can we move on to the next question, please?
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes with these people like this that have such childish moral paradigms, I just don't understand. You know, every single word that they complain about, the war, checkpoints, what else they complain about, the blockades in Gaza, the displacement that occurred in 48, every single one of those complaints happened because the Arabs started a war tried to genocide the Jews. It's that simple. I just want to mention something that's really important. I want to share it with you now. Have a watch, and then we'll get back to the topic discussion. The world is full of lies.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bear criminal responsibility.
The truth is under attack.
Which river, which sea? So you don't know the answer.
From the media to the UN to celebrities, lies reign supreme. But the thing about the truth is that no matter how dark a room of lies, if you light one candle of truth, it can light up the whole room. That's why I created JTV, the global Jewish YouTube channel. We have been lighting the flame of truth on social media. We believe that the key to defeating anti-Semitism isn't just in fighting the hate, but it's about creating pro-Semitism and sharing the truth. There's nothing inevitable about anti-Semitism. We just need to tell our story with confidence, pride, and love. We believe that telling the truth, exposing the lies, and sharing the wisdom and beauty found within the Jewish story and the ideas of Judaism can transform the world. We're reaching millions of people all around the world from all backgrounds and perspectives. Every day we are transforming people's views about Israel, Jews, and Judaism. How do we know? Because they tell us. But there's so much more we can do. It's time for us to build a team to accelerate our growth and produce way more content that can appeal to even more people. We want to hire more presenters, start doing documentary series, and way more. And if we do that, JTV will start competing with the other big media players who peddle anti-Israel narratives. And that's where you come in. I'm asking you to please partner with us on our journey to spread the truth to the entire world by donating whatever you can to this fundraiser. Together, we will harness the power of social media to shine the light of truth to the whole world. Thank you so much for your support. So there you go. That is our fundraiser video. Please do click on the link in the video description of this video if you'd be up for supporting us. I really do mean it when I say that you'll become a partner with us in spreading the truth of Israel and Israel's cause and trying to basically enlighten people around the world. You really will become a partner with us because you'll be helping with us. And I really think there's strength in numbers. So click on the link. Please donate. Please also share the link with your family, friends, and contacts because I really think together we'll be able to have a major, major impact. But now to get back to the video. So if you start something, it's like in Gaza. Let's just take that as a case study. Gaza, 2005, Israel pulls out. They let the Arabs living there have self-determination there. Basically, immediately, Hamas take over and start firing rockets. So now you say, well, Israel aren't allowed to blockade Gaza to censor what's going through there to ensure that there aren't rockets that are going to kill their own people. Israel can't do that. Or checkpoints when Israel faces terrorism and threats of terrorism on a daily basis. Israel can't do checkpoints in Judea and Samaria on the West Bank, which is a basic necessary security precaution. Or the displacement. It didn't have to happen in 48. Why did it happen? Because the Arabs rejected a partition of the land. The displacement occurred after when the surrounding Arab countries launched a war to kill the Jews. And they were told, many of the Arab armies told the Arabs living there, to flee, and then you'll come back once we've killed the Jews and divided up the land. By the way, not into a Palestinian state, but into Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt. And so every complaint they have is disingenuous. Everything that Israel does is not genocide, it's to protect her people. What the other side does, however, is genocide. It's not to protect their people, because if Hamas wants to protect their people, goodness me, they would not be doing what they're doing. No. It's to kill the Jews. And frankly, I'm not having any more of this, their moral posturing. They're attempting to try and shame Israel or use all these ridiculous slurs. It's enough. We don't need to fall for it anymore. We can continue explaining things, but we no longer need to feel intimidated or in any way that we have to compromise to this nonsense. least of all a Palestinian state, which Israel has tried to dance to that tune for nearly a century. Don't forget that there was a partition plan was proposed by the Peel Commission in the 30s, which would have given Israel, the Jews, just a tiny plot of land and the Arabs the vast majority. And they still rejected that then. So I think it's time that we shift to a totally different paradigm. Could things be any clearer?